Hey guys, it's Ravenhawk6910 reporting once again. So today I'm going to show you how I make my trees for my HO scale and eventually O scale model railroads. Now, fair warning, this is one of many ways to do trees and scenery for a model railroad. Everyone's got their own method, and some people will look at this and say that this is the amateur way of doing it and it sucks. And that's okay, because I am an amateur, and this is what I've found that works with me. And what works for me may not work with you, but I at least want to show you what I found that works for me personally, and give you an easy guide if you're just getting started into making trees. Now, we'll go ahead and get started. There's a few things you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need tree armatures, bent to whatever degree you want, and I recommend putting them on the base for this. You're also going to need some clump foliage. You can get both of these from Woodland Scenics, and you're also going to need a hot glue gun and some hot glue. Also, I recommend getting yourself a bowl that you can put your foliage in. This just makes it a lot easier to handle in the long run. And I also recommend some needle nose tweezers to help you handle the foliage a little bit better. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So, what you're going to need to do is very simple. Just put your hot glue on, heat it up, and gradually start sticking it to the tree and stick the foliage to it. It's very simple. Now, there's another way of doing this that involves a material from Woodland Scenics called Hobby Tack, and that is goes on white, dries clear, and tacky material that you can put on with a brush. And I've tried it before, and I just don't like it. And the main reason is because I found that the trees are very thin and very weak when you do that. So this method allows you to build up the foliage on top of itself using the hot glue, and it makes your trees a lot more sturdy and a lot more fuller in body. So if you're doing like a summertime look or a late spring kind of thing, I think this is what would work well for that kind of situation. So just take your hot glue gun and just very gradually, a little bit at a time, work up the sections of tree. Now you may find some larger sections of the foliage that you can split in half with your hands and stick them together that way, kind of in a sandwich way, and that will allow you to hold things a little more firm. Other times it's just easier to use the tweezers and put the foliage on that way for the smaller bits. Now the hot glue will leave some stringy material behind, so just swirl it around, swirl the gun around in your hand a little bit, and that will help to break it off. And go back with your tweezers once the glue is cooled down, and you can pull that stuff off very easily. So they're going to look like little spider webs almost. So just take your time, be careful. This is not a fast process. This is a very time-consuming process. Usually, the way I've been able to do it is get 2 trees knocked out in an evening here at home. And personally, I find it very therapeutic to work on these trees. You know, just a nice, very relaxing, very zen-like thing. As long as you just take your time and be careful with it, it works out pretty well. And over time, you will build up more and more, and eventually you'll end up with something similar to this. Now, these trees come with pre-made bases that you can just snap into the bottom of the tree. I'm going to go ahead and use this base that comes with it. And one thing I did when I was first putting these down is I would take some white PVA school glue, just Elmer's glue, and take a paintbrush and wipe that across the bottom of the base, and then I would add some Woodland Scenics blended turf, which was the same base material I used for my layout, and sprinkle that over the base to help it blend in. But eventually all of this is going to be covered up with grass tufts anyways, so then those are going to hide it. So I've found it easier just to leave those off and just glue it straight down to the table, and then glue the tufts onto the base once you've got that done. So take your tree over to where you want it, test fit it before you glue it down just to make sure it's going to fit, and then take your hot glue, add a little bit to the bottom, and then just glue it in place. Hold it in place a little bit so that way it won't topple over. Just wait maybe 30 seconds for the glue to dry enough. Hot glue does dry fairly quick. And there you go. That's how I do my trees. It's very stupid simple. and it's one of many ways of doing scenery for a model railroad. So this method may not work for you, and again, that's fine, but it works for me. So I hope this helped you out a little bit, gave you a little bit of an insight on what to do for your first model railroad, or maybe some ideas for an established model railroader. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have other suggestions or how you make trees, please let me know in the description box below. I'd love to hear your methods as well. And yeah, that's basically it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is Ravenhawk6910 signing off.